All right, welcome everybody back to another Reno Uke Fest artist interview. We are here with Casey McGill, who has so thoughtfully joined us from a vacation spot that you're on. Thank you so much for making time for us today.
Yeah, well, Danny, greetings from Madison, Wisconsin, where I am ensconced with my lovely bride, Jessica, and our niece, Abby.
So, is this your first time at Reno Uke Fest? No,
No,
you were in Palm Springs that one time, I
I
know.
did one Reno before you took it over, and then also I did one Palm Springs Fest.
That's right. And I
Yeah,
remember Jessica came and did a swing dancing workshop for
right,
us. That was so
right.
much fun.
As far as my background goes, I've been an owner of a ukulele for quite a while. I received my first one as a Christmas present from my grandmother in 1957. And
Oh,
uh, my parents and I took a steamship from Los Angeles to Honolulu, which you can't really do anymore. But this was back when the Matson lines were the main transport of people from the mainland to the Hawaiian Islands. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was the 40th anniversary of my grandmother and my mother's relocation to Honolulu from Los Angeles, as she did the daring thing of getting divorced back in 1917. And she and my mom lived on Waikiki for a couple of years. And then she had a brother who also was living there in Honolulu. And so they had an exposure to Hawaiian culture, and my mom had an ukulele and learned a little bit herself as a very young girl.
aw.
And then in the 50s, we came back for a Christmas vacation, and I got my first ukulele, and uh, there was a Hawaiian gentleman who was driving us around who showed me a few chords on my new Christmas present. And that was my first exposure to the instrument. And a few years later, I got very excited about folk music in the mid 1960s and was watching a TV show called Hootenanny. And at that time, I was very anxious to play the guitar, and my mom said, "Well, you've got this ukulele here. Why don't you use that?" So I started learning how to play the ukulele with the three basic chords, and I did that for a few years, and then switched to guitar for a few years, and then I ended up putting down the guitar when I was about 17. I was in a blues band, and we already had a guitar player, and so I ended up going back to the piano, and I started busking when I was about 18 or 19, and I ended up taking up the ukulele again, and then I've been busking ever since, basically. More indoors than outdoors, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a shame we don't have a piano at Reno because those of you watching at home, if you haven't seen Casey, you can imagine he's sitting there singing and playing the piano, and then he'd flip over and play his ukulele, and then flip back, and then he'd
yeah,
pick up your trumpet and play some
yeah,
notes. That was
yeah,
so fun.
yeah. That's it's as close as I get to juggling, actually.
Yeah.
I think probably, in all honesty, I'm more of a singer who plays the ukulele rather than a
Mm.
ukulele player who sings, you know. And I hope everybody's okay with that, But
Oh,
but
well,
but at the same time, I'm kind of within music. I'm a kind of a Renaissance person because I love to sing. I love to just play rhythm on the ukulele in an ensemble, where you have a string bass and
mhm.
maybe a guitar or maybe a couple other instruments. And I just love to make rhythm, I have no problem doing that. And if somebody else is doing the vocal, that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to
Yeah.
play rhythm, to try to support the ensemble.
What's interesting about that is that I was just speaking with Little Rev, and after our interview, I was saying he spoke about taking a solo. And I was telling him like, I thought I wanted to be a soloist, but it's nerve-wracking, but also I'm not that interested in it. I really like laying down that solid rhythm. And he said, yeah,
Yeah,
well, every band needs that solid rhythm player too. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with you. We'll be in the rhythm
yeah.
section singing.
The only thing I miss, uh, the name Little Rev, made me think of the blues, and he is a great exponent of playing the blues with the ukulele. And um, when I think of that, I think of guitars playing the blues, and I think of those two bottom strings, the E string and the A string, and
Uh-huh.
how they, make rhythm for those shuffle songs. There's certain licks that the rhythm guitars play, and I kind of miss that on the ukulele. But on the other hand, I am really a four-string player. I'm not really. I've had opportunities to go back to the guitar, and
Mhm.
I'm just and I love 12-string guitars. I love the sound of those. I've been a big fan, but I just, for everyday playing, I just love playing the ukulele.
Somewhere along the way, you started teaching. So my next question is, what is your teaching philosophy?
Um, my teaching philosophy has evolved since I started doing it. And since when I first started doing it, it was just another alternative income source, and I thought, well, I've been doing this for decades, I should be able to teach something, and then as I did more of it, I became more inspired to actually do the act of teaching. And now I'm my philosophy is to try to get people to um, discover um, possibilities, whether it's strumming something or whether it's something to do with musical theory, because um, the ukulele has, since it's a chording instrument, you have the possibility of learning about and applying musical theory as you play chord progressions and things like that. So my philosophy has to do with, I want people to um, discover new things about what they can do, and get them, and also to get them excited about playing, and get them excited about taking time out of their lives to make music. And then as as that occurs, they find that, oh, they're happier. They can discover that all of a sudden they're having a good time and they're enjoying themselves. And then all of a sudden the world becomes a little, we reduce the friction in the world when we play music. And um, I think that's something that's extremely important at this point in time, to try to promote harmony, uh, as opposed to the other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And also, I've discovered that with music, this is pretty much an extension of what I've just said. Um, that people can be coming from different points of view, socially and politically, and you can play a song, and all the people there, regardless of where they are on the spectrum of politics or society, they can all share the enjoyment. They can all have a shared experience of enjoying the music, and the ukulele is kind of a secret weapon, because it's hard to play that instrument without you know getting a smile on your face or having a good feeling, because there's something about the ukulele that's magical, that has a good feeling built into it. And it's not that hard to access that, and you don't have to be have years of experience. You can be a beginner. You can have just taken the instrument out of the case and put it in your lap and started making sounds with it. And the minute you start playing a C chord or a G chord or whatever, all of a sudden you feel like, wow, and it's kind of a magical, and it's kind of subversive too, in a really good way. so that's my philosophy, to encourage, people to enjoy music, get happy, have a good time, and then hopefully those feelings will transcend our differences.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Well, let's talk about what workshops you're going to be teaching at
Oh,
Reno this year.
okay.
Tell us about polishing the details, vamps, turnarounds, and outros for level 2 to 3.
Okay. Polishing the details. So details would be the things that you do when you perform that would make your, if you employ or play uh, a good vamp, a good intro, a good outro, or if you think to arrange a song a particular way, well, I'm going to start out doing this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then I'm going to end it this way. When you do that organizing, you're you're organizing a collection of details, and also one of the things in this class that I like to stress is limiting your palette. Like if you're an artist and you're making a painting, you don't want to take every color in the rainbow and put it up in that painting. You want to go, okay, well, this next painting, I'm gonna concentrate on red and blue, and I'm gonna maybe do a little bit of another color. But also when you mix the primary colors, you can get secondary ones. So if you limit your palette and go, I'm going to do this, then when you finish your performance, it's easier to absorb. People want a certain amount of information, but you don't want to be overwhelmed with everything, right? It's like if you go to the ice cream store, you're going to pick one or two flavors. You're not going to say, well, I want something of all these flavors. No, you're going to get a tummy ache. So as that relates to polishing the details, it's like if you have an intro and you're gonna decide, okay, this is going to be my intro. Okay, that's my intro. And then if you say, okay, well, I'm going to also recycle that, use it for the outro. When you get to the end of the song, you know, wow, now you've got two things, and the repetition and the recycling makes it more unified. It creates strength, and you might want to go, that's a little bit elongated. You might get to the end of your vocal chorus and you're gonna be singing something, and then you're gonna go to a solo. So you could put that in the middle of the tune. You could do as an intro, end of the vocal chorus, and then that's an outro. So that's a detail that you can polish by learning how to recycle, and intros, outros, vamps. A vamp is something that is really handy when you are wanting to establish your tempo. And for example, if you're a professional musician and you've played a song a number of times, you don't necessarily need a vamp. You can just go 1, 2, but if you're playing a new song, if you're playing with people that you haven't performed with before or jammed with, and you want to kind of get the groove going before the song starts, a vamp is a great thing. There's no shame in playing a vamp before you start your song. So that's another. Those are a couple examples of some details that you can concentrate on, and then what ends up happening is the quality of your playing, the impression that you create is heightened. It's more of a polished performance.
All right. And how about My Three Strums?
I came up with that title because I do these three strums. Pretty much those are the three ones that I do the most. And I do a couple of other strums. And every once in a while, I'll be inspired to improvise some sort of a strum, depending upon what the people are doing I'm playing with. But if I'm doing if I'm in a swing group, which I find myself in quite a bit, I have a strum that I use for that. And if I'm doing also if I'm doing the old rhythm and blues of the 40s and 50s, like the Louis Jordan music, Western swing, sometimes old honky tonk country music, or early rock and roll, like early Elvis Presley, I have a shuffle strum, and then I have a rumba strum that I developed in order to play some 1950s pop music that was written in the mid 50s. So the swing strum, I copy swing guitar players, rhythm guitar players from the 1930s, and they were playing, they call it 4 on the floor, 4 beats to a measure. And you can do them completely the same, like, or you can do it, you can accent 2 and 4. And what you're doing is you're creating a beat, because back in the 30s and 40s, this was dance music. It wasn't concert music like jazz has become. So people, they wanted to hear something that they could easily dance to, and so that's the basis of the swing strum. And then if you're using your thumb, yeah, that's just a little detail that you can add to kind of give a finish to your rhythm phrase. So that's that strum. The shuffle strum, that's on the upstroke, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I do the and 1 with my thumb. So I'll slide up.
You strum up with your thumb?
I do.
Oh.
Watch it. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that little ka-chunk, that's 2 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And you can create 2-bar phrases that way. And that's the essence of the shuffle strum. So I try to get I say, take your index finger, take the fleshy part of that, and to do an upstroke on the strings, just with a G6 chord. Right. And you get that sound. And 2. And then learn how to damp the strings, and 1 and 2. So you can do it, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Nice.
You know, that's the shuffle strum. The rumba strum, I break it down into 3 components. Down, roll, that's the first one. Down, up, that's the second one. Down, down, up, that's the third. So down, 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 down. So down. You know, and so
Sounds really cool.
I'll have the class just work on the first one, down roll. Everybody will practice the roll. We'll all spend a little bit of time going. You can roll either from your index finger or from your little finger. You go like that, or you can go like that. I go from my index finger. The master of the roll is Daniel Ward, because he also is a very accomplished flamenco and classical guitarist. Mm-hmm. So he's mastered these rolls, and if you want any additional study of that, he's the one to check out. And for this class, though, you know, so there's a down roll. So we all do that. We just do components. We don't do the whole thing at once. I'll say, let's break it into 3 things, right? 3 components. Down roll, that's our first one. And then down, up, down, up. So down with your index finger, and then up with your thumb. So that's down, up, and then down, down, up. I have a diagram that I pass out, and also that I put on the chalkboard, or the whiteboard, and with arrows, down, up, or down, roll. So the roll is also down. So this strum is mostly down strokes, or a down roll, down roll, down, up, down, down, up. So there's only two upstrokes in that whole thing. The rest of it is all down. And it's counterintuitive, but at the same time that it's counterintuitive, that's what makes it interesting, Anyway, so that is the rumba strum, and those are my three strums.
Now that's listed as a level 1 to 2, but we might bump that up to a level 2 just so that level 1 players don't come in and go, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah, yeah. Well,
some cool strums though.
Yeah, hopefully, at least they'd be able to walk away with some knowledge of the swing strum.
Yeah.
And if it's an hour class, each one of those gets approximately 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we get 75 minutes total, so you got that extra 15.
Oh, okay. Okay, well then,
Yeah.
get an extra, what is it, 25 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, nice. So you've got connective tissue and
Mhm.
the feeling.
Connective tissue is basically music theory, in that I give you examples um, of mostly old songs, like from the 20s and 30s, and I'll show you a chord progression, and I'll say, you know what? If you've learned this song, you've also learned this song and that song. And
Ah.
one great example of that is the old 1920s song "5'2", and there's two other songs that use exactly the same chord progression as "5'2". So just to give you a quick review of "5'2", it starts out, I'm in the key of C, and so it goes 5'2", and then eyes of blue. Oh, what those 5 feet can do. Has anybody seen my gal? Okay, and that repeats, and then the bridge goes to the E7 chord, which is the 3 chord. When I say 3, I'm talking about the third note in the C scale. So if you start on C, C, D, E, F, G, A, and then B, C. So C, D, E, that's 1, 2, 3. So the third, the 3 chord starts on the E, E7, and then goes to 6, which is A, and then to the 2 chord, which is D7, and the 5 chord, which is G. And so these are all based on notes in the C scale. And also, there's something happening here that's called the circle of fifths.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the tempered major scale that is unique to Western music, European Western music. And our system of music is based on this tempered scale. And so 1, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. So 5'2". Has anybody seen my gal? And then you can also do, please don't talk about me when I'm gone. Oh, baby, though our romance ceases from now on. And then there's another one. When someone gets all the love that I've got, it's gonna be you. It's gonna be you.
I didn't know that those two were the same. That's cool, those 3.
Yeah. And then the bridge is the same too. Like, if you should run into a 5'2", all covered with furs, diamond rings, all those things, that your life, it isn't hers. And then you go your way, I'll go mine. It's best that we part. Here's a kiss. I hope that this brings lots of luck to you. Anyway, and so the bridges are identical as well.
Wow.
And so some of these examples uh, are examples where it's not the entire song. I have what I call an I got rhythm bridge, and I got rhythm bridge is just the one that I played, where it's three and then six and then two and then five. So let's see. Old man trouble boat, never find him, never round my door. So that's the I got rhythm bridge. And even though that bridge was used about 5 years before I got rhythm was written, you know, I got rhythm has been such a popular song for jazz musicians to jam on, starting in the 1930s. That tune was written in 1930, and by the end of the 30s, it was one of the most popular songs for musicians to jam on. So that's why we call it that. And then there's the song Honeysuckle Rose, and the Honeysuckle Rose bridge is also a bridge that has been used ad infinitum in Tin Pan Alley and pop songs, and that I'm not going to get into that right now, but you that's pretty much a good example of what this class is about. You know how there's repetition in songwriting, and once you learn this progression, you also know that progression, and once you start recognizing that, it takes a lot of the fear out of learning more of this music, because
Yeah.
Just know that you're going to encounter things that you've already experienced. You know, you've already learned, and you'll be able to plug in the previous knowledge you have into what you're picking up on. You know, whether it's a whole song, or whether it's a section of a song, or whether it's even a 2-bar phrase. You know, the repetition is such, you know, that you're gonna have a what we call a cumulative learning experience, where as you learn, you build on what you already have, and as you also learn it, you accelerate the speed at the of which you're learning. You know, you'll be able to learn things faster because you've already encountered various things in the new material that you've already done. And that's
Yeah.
what it's about.
I remember seeing people like you come to do a workshop and say, this sounds like this, and this sounds like this. And I remember feeling so frustrated with myself. I was like, how am I ever going to memorize anything like that?
Yeah.
How is it possible they have this whole repertoire up in their head? But now I've been doing music full time for like 15 years. So, you know, as you go along, you go,
Yeah.
I don't have the same repertoire as Casey McGill, but I've got my own repertoire where I go,
Yeah.
oh, Perry shows me something on the bass, and I go, he goes, oh, it's just like that other thing we did. And I go,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Or
Yeah.
yesterday, he's like, hey, play this song. We were at a wedding. He's like, let's play this song. And I was like, we haven't practiced that. And he goes, it's just thingamajig. Just do thingamajig. And I
Yeah.
did thingamajig, but he's saying something else, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, we have gotten to the end of our interview, and my last question is, do you have anything that you'd like to share with us? Is there anything on your website that people can go and find? Any albums or music books or anything like that? Any upcoming gigs that you want to tell us?
Um, well, let's see. We've got. I'm reuniting with this trio that I mentioned earlier called Mood Indigo, and we have a couple of shows in the Bay Area in October. We're playing in Oakland at a place called Piedmont Piano on October 16th, I think it is. And then the following day, we're going to be in Santa Cruz at a coffee shop called the Ugly Mug. And and it's and it's actually in addition to selling coffee, it's also a performance space. And we were down there this last October at a lovely community theater, and had a great time. So we're kind of going back to Santa Cruz and revisiting some of our new fans down there. And my wife Jessica and I made a CD about a year ago that we call the Singing McGills, and you you have to get it from our website because we don't have it on social media yet. But it's a collection of, I believe it's 12 songs, and these same two guys, John Reynolds and David Jackson, who are part of Mood Indigo, came up to Seattle and helped us record this CD. So they're playing bass and guitar on the CD along with myself and Jessica, and we have a third person, Robin, who sang some third vocal parts, and there's one tune on the record that the Mood Indigo added some vocals on, which is a lot of fun. So that's a CD, and then I have my songwriting CD called Love Letter, which is a collection of original music that I've written over the last 50 years. And that is all over the place. It's like a big retrospective of my songwriting. And it's not just swing music. It's there's a bossa nova, there's a jazz waltz, there's some funk tunes, and there's some singer-songwriter tunes, and there's then a lot of songs that are in the style of old standards that are great too. So that's a good one. And a lot of over 56 musicians on that record, different musicians.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we recorded in Los Angeles, New York, Seattle, San Francisco, and Tacoma. So yeah, and it took 2 or 3 years. Our first session was in LA in 2019, before the project existed in our heads, and then we consciously got going on it in 2021 and finished up in 2022. So I guess it would have been, around 3 years anyway. Oh. So that's something interesting. You can hear that on Spotify, and also you can listen to it on our website at caseymcgill.com. So, those are some little things we're up to.
Yeah.
And then Jessica and I are in Tacoma, and we perform occasionally locally, and and that's pretty much it for the moment. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a lot. 56 musicians. Ooh,
yeah.
That's a big project.
Yeah. Well, it cost a chunk of change, but I'm glad that we were able to do it. We got some help on that one.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so wonderful spending some time getting to know you, Casey.
Thank you, Danny.
For those of you watching at home, you'll get a chance to hang out with Casey at the Reno Uke Fest this year, October 8th through the 11th.
Yes.
And you'll leave with some deeper knowledge and appreciation of music, the history of music, and also a deeper connection with each other as we learn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's our idea. Yeah. Thank you, Danny. And thank you so much to you and Perry for all the work that you've put into making this festival a reality, a happening. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'll give a shout out to Doug and Melinda Reynolds too, who started the whole thing and made it what it is. And then we were just able to take the reins and keep it going. And it's been wonderful. And it's a true pleasure of my life for us to be able to put on this party. So
okay. Well, we'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah. All right, everybody. See you at the next interview.
All right.